Welcome to Safe Team Solutions. My name is Gabriel, Safety Consultant at Safe Team Solutions.
Hi, my name is Mike, Senior Safety Consultant with Safe Team Solutions.
New rule change September 29th, 2020. When you declare adverse driving conditions on your logs, you now get up to 2 hours more of time on your 11-hour driving clock and 14 hours on-duty clock. Previously, it only extended your 11-hour clock. So the driving extension applies to both driving limit and on-duty limit. Number 1, property carriers 11-hour driving limit and 14-hour on-duty limit, located in Part 395, shown on the screen. Number 2, passenger carrier is a 10-hour driving limit and a 15-hour on-duty limit, also located in Part 395, Part 2, as shown on the screen. Adverse driving conditions include snow, sleet, fog, and other adverse weather conditions or other adverse weather conditions which contributes to unusual road and traffic conditions, which were not apparent or known or could not reasonably have expected to be known before dispatch. Number 1, by the driver immediately prior to beginning the duty day or immediately before beginning driving after a qualifying rest break or sleep or berth break. Or number 2, by the person or motor carrier dispatching the run at the time it began. Part 395.1, scope of the rules in this part of the FMCSA regulations. If a driver uses the adverse driving conditions exception or the emergency conditions exception as found in Part 395, shown on the screen, and this is used in order to circumvent an hours of service violation, the following must apply. Number 1, an absolute prerequisite for any such claim must be that the trip involved is one that could or normally reasonably have been expected to be completed without a violation, and that the unforeseen event occurred after the driver began the trip. Number 2, drivers who are dispatched after the motor carrier has been notified or should have known of adverse driving conditions are not eligible for the 2 hours additional driving time provided for under Part 395 adverse driving conditions. Number 3, the term in any emergency, in quotes, shall not be construed as encompassing such situations as the driver's desire to get home, shipper's demands, market declines, shortage of drivers, or mechanical failures. Number 4, the driver cannot use adverse weather conditions because of heavy city traffic, which is normal at the time of day he's driving there. The driver should make allowances for heavy traffic in larger urban areas such as Chicago, Houston, New York, and even Austin, Texas at rush hour. Examples of adverse driving conditions. Number 1, the driver of a property carrier has been dispatched, and after progressing on their route, they run into unexpected snow and ice in the Midwest, which was not forecast before being dispatched. They have already been driving for over 10 hours, nearing the end of their driving limit, and realize that they would have to drive past the 11 hours limit in order to reach the nearest rest area or truck stop. Utilizing adverse weather conditions will give them an additional 2 hours to reach a safe place to rest and wait out the storm. Number 2, a driver for a property carrier has been driving since midnight after 10 hours off duty on the prior day. The driver drives for 3 hours, and after 1 hour off duty, drives an additional 4 hours, finds himself stuck in traffic due to an auto accident, and there is no way to exit or go around the accident, but is able to pull into a rest area and go off duty for 1 hour in order to wait for the accident to be cleaned up. They then switch to adverse conditions and drive an additional 5 hours to reach the destination. The driver will have driven for 12 hours and passed beyond the 14 consecutive hours on duty by 1 hour, 15 total. As well, there's no violation according to the new HOS final rule, which went into effect September 29th, 2020. Part 395.1, seen on the screen. The rules in this part apply to all motor carriers and drivers, except as provided in paragraphs B through X of this section. Number 2, the exceptions from federal requirements contained in paragraphs L and M of this section do not preempt state laws and regulations governing the safe operation of commercial motor vehicles. Part 395.1, driving conditions. Number 1, adverse driving conditions, except as provided in paragraph H, part 3 of this section. A driver who encounters adverse driving conditions as defined in part 395.2 and cannot, because of those conditions, safely complete the run within the maximum driving time or duty time during which driving is permitted under Part 395.3 or 395.5, may drive and be permitted or required to drive a commercial motor vehicle for not more than 2 additional hours beyond the maximum allowable hours permitted under Part 395. to complete the run or to reach a place offering safety for the occupants of the commercial motor vehicle and security for the commercial motor vehicle and its cargo. Number 2, emergency conditions. In case of any emergency, a driver may complete his or her run without being in violation of the provisions of the regulations in this part, which such run reasonably could have been completed absent the emergency. Examples: hurricane, tornado, earthquake emergency. Part 395 has maximum driving time for property carrying vehicles as well. Part A mentions, except as otherwise provided in 395.1, no motor carrier shall permit or require any driver used by it to drive a property carrying commercial motor vehicle, nor shall any such driver drive a property carrying motor vehicle regardless of the number of motor carriers using the driver's services, unless the driver complies with the following requirements. Number 1, start of the work shift. A driver may not drive without first taking 10 consecutive hours off duty. Number 2, 14-hour period. A driver may not drive after a period of 14 consecutive hours after coming on duty following 10 consecutive hours off duty. Part 395, definitions. As used in this part, the following words and terms are construed to mean: adverse driving conditions means snow, ice, sleet, fog, or other adverse weather conditions or unusual road or traffic conditions that were not known or could not reasonably be known to a driver immediately prior to beginning the duty day or immediately before driving after qualifying the rest break or sleep or berth period, or to a motor carrier immediately prior to dispatching the driver. On-duty time means all time from the time a driver begins to work or is required to be in readiness to work till the time the driver is relieved from work and all responsibility for performing work. On-duty time shall include 1, all time at plant, terminal, facility, or other property of a motor carrier or shipper, or on any public property waiting to be dispatched, unless the driver has been relieved from duty by the motor carrier. Number 2, all time inspecting, servicing, or conditioning any commercial motor vehicle at any time. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Remember to share with your friends and colleagues and leave comments.